Ben Swinburne is Managing Director and Head of U.S. Media Research at Morgan Stanley. Ben, I'm a huge soccer guy, so I want to ask you a question about Lionel Messi coming to the United States. Obviously, the Major League Soccer is like the fourth or fifth biggest sports league in the country.
10th.
But they've now got 10th.
No,
You're being anti-soccer, aren't you? But obviously, they've now got the #1 star on the planet, arguably, coming to their league. How transformational will that be? And then I want to get your thoughts on the impact on Apple, which has an exclusive streaming deal with Major League Soccer. And now they've got a global property that they didn't think they would have when they signed that deal.
Well, thanks for having me. And of course, normally I love to agree with Kelly on everything, but I would say that she's underestimating the value of soccer, or they call it in the rest of the world football.
There you go.
One of the things we point out in the report is that if you look at the most popular teams in the United States on Instagram, the Warriors are #1 at about 30 million followers. Real Madrid and Barcelona are at 140 million and 120 million each. So we're talking order of magnitude more popularity. Messi's been massive for MLS. I think it's something that I'm sure Apple is thrilled about. I think what it tells you, though, about Apple is that they have real ambitions in sports that probably go beyond MLS.
Sure.
And one of the things we really focus on in the report is this idea that we're at a real fork in the road on the future of streaming. And really where who will win in sports is going to be one of the most fascinating things to watch over the next couple of years. I don't think MLS is the end of Apple's ambitions in sports.
Yeah, no, I think that they got this huge bonus with Messi landing in their lap. But to me, I watch that Apple coverage. Like I said, a big soccer guy. I watch that all the time. I watch that Apple coverage, and it looks like sort of a petri dish or a lab where they're kind of experimenting with what sports on Apple will be in the future. And you could just see them settling on a formula and then rolling out after the NFL or rolling out after the NBA and going for some of the big leagues.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, one of the things we point out again in this piece that you mentioned is by 2029, every major U.S. sport will have its rights come back to market if we assume the NFL opts out, a little bit early, which is probably not a crazy expectation. And the big focus we have today is really on the NBA. The NBA is the only major U.S. sport coming up soon. Their deal's up in a couple of years, but our expectation is that those discussions are happening right now. And the thing that makes Apple and the NBA really interesting is that the NBA, we believe, has the ability to sell their rights globally the way MLS did. And Apple, of course, I think loves the idea of a global offering given their massive global installed base. So I would not be surprised at all if we saw Apple come away with part of the NBA packages as we look ahead to 25, 26 for the NBA.
Because I'm a big bandwagon jumper. There's no one, did I follow the Warriors? Absolutely. Am I going to follow Messi? Sure, if I can figure it out. And so when I said actually to my husband, how would I watch these games? He's like, I don't know. And he's a sports guy. So if it's on Apple, what product am I paying to access, and do I have access to it? Then this, I think, gets to the heart of the question about who's best positioned stock-wise over the next couple of years as a result of sports. And Apple, all these big tech companies, they've got a lot of other things going on as well.
Sure, yeah. We spent a lot of time, Kelly, in this report looking at two things. One, why is sports different? Why are these unique parts of the media ecosystem that we think will continue to grow with consumers, with fans, and in value? But also, what's the future of sports on TV and on streaming? And look, there's no question that with cord cutting, the legacy broadcasters, ESPN, Fox, CBS, they, in our view, really need to figure out how to move sports out of the bundle, which is clearly shrinking, to something else. And we take a stab at that something else in our report, thinking about sort of a streaming sports bundle. We think Disney's ESPN is best positioned to put that together. That doesn't mean it's going to happen. And if it doesn't happen, I think what we're looking at 3 or 4 years from now is the major sports networks in the future will be Apple, Amazon, YouTube, et cetera. And for the consumer, my 2 cents, I'm sort of with your husband on this. I'd love to see a bundle where I only pay one service.
Totally.
I get all the sports, and I don't have to spend 20 minutes every night trying to figure out where the Yankee game is.